So are your sales slowing down? If they are, the question is, how do you keep growing your profit when it looks like the sales market is soft? And I'm not going to tell you to go out and do things to boost sales, because you're already trying to do that. That's not the secret. There's another secret, however. There are some don'ts, first of all. Do not rely on cost cuts. Everybody wants to cut costs. The problem with cost cuts is that once you've done them, then what? And if you're not careful, you will cut the meat in spite of the speeches to the contrary. So, okay, if there's a few obvious ones, cut them, but that is not going to get you across the finish line. Number two, do not cut your prices to goose sales. That's crazy. What you've done is permanently prevent yourself from getting the margin you need to survive. Do not do that. Don't cut prices. That's a shortcut that lazy people take, and I know you're not lazy, and you're down the drain when you do that. And number three, do not squeeze your suppliers, because here's what happens. So you squeeze, by squeeze I mean squeeze them for price or terms. They may help you extend payments to get through a cash crunch. That's different. But if you're squeezing them, they're going to change their mind about you. You're not going to be at top of the priority list when there's a problem. They're not going to make an extra effort to help you. And if things go wrong, they're going to take their own sweet time to get around to helping you, which is the opposite of what you get. Because in fact, you get more from your suppliers than the product or service you buy from them. And if you measure it and count it all up, in fact, the other things are valuable way beyond their service itself. So don't squeeze them. Don't. Well, okay, then what do, right? Because we just took all the easy ones away. Yes, we did. Here's what you do. Number one, boost margin. Margin. Well, wait a minute. Well, didn't I just say don't cut costs? I did. So Mary Barra has been CEO of General Motors, I think now for 2 years. In the first 7 quarters, sales were flat, profit was up 6 times what it was before. Yeah, publicly traded company, these are the numbers, and you can do what she did. Here's the first thing she said. She said, we want to look at everything we're doing in our business, and if we're not making money and it doesn't have a future, dump it. And they did. All kinds of things, including things that were part of GM forever. You can do that. How do you do that? Think in terms of products or market segments, and first of all, target the weak ones. You know right now, if I said to you, look at your segments and tell me what are the 2 or 3 weakest ones that you have. You're not going to be perfect, but you're not going to miss by much. You've done this for a while. Target them. Number 2, use very crude cost accounting to sharpen your estimates. So you target one and say, I think we ought to dump this. Am I missing something here? And very quick cost accounting, and a good accountant can do this, will tell you, yeah, you're right, our odds of turning that profitable are long, let's get out of it. Or, no, look, there's something in here. Do not charter a major cost accounting initiative. Do not do that. What you'll get is a lot of numbers, and it will not change the outcome. It will just take time. Don't do that. And by the way, any CPA worth his salt will tell you what I've just told you. And number 3, then make the decision to either keep it or dump it. And if you're not sure, keep it, put it on a 90-day test with the idea that if something doesn't happen, then dump it. Get rid of it. Because you're using up resource on something that is not a payday. And don't do that. Number 2, raise prices. A little. There is always 2 or 3%, always. And okay, so there'll be one customer in one product line where that doesn't work. Try it out. They go nuts. You stop. You don't do that. But last time I checked, 2% price increase goes right to the bottom line, doesn't it? And what's in the way of price increases is your salespeople's courage, period. Customers are going to handle it, I promise you. And what you do when you raise prices is boost service, listen to them, see that you do a little better job on that side, but get the higher price. You absolutely can do that. Number 3, ignore overhead expense. Well, okay, if there's something that is tied to a product you're going to get rid of that expense. And there may be an operation or an individual or two that you've been worried about or unhappy with for 3 years and you thought I ought to do so. Do something about that. Okay, this is little stuff. This is not going to save your business. But this is a version of the cost cutting that I talked about before. And everybody wants to cut overhead because, don't you know, our sales are going to be lower. What I would argue for instead of that is the following. Look around at your team and aim them toward the next market opportunity and use them, they know your business, their resources, and charge them to doing that. The bird is underlining what I'm saying. Pick out a market segment that you want to grow, pull together a piece of your team that you already have, and instead of sending them out the door, charge them with making this growth happen. And you'll get it more money quicker that way than you will by stopping paying their salaries. I know that sounds backwards, but that's how winners do it. So, if you have a 1% boost in your margin, so what do I mean by that? So, if your profit margin goes from 5%, let's say, this is bottom line, to 6%, at which you can do with these measures, by the way. And if your sales are $50 million, and this is for simplicity's sake, that 1% is $500,000 to the bottom line. I worked with a manufacturing manager in a mid-sized business once, and we changed how he managed his team to focus them on solving problems which he identified instead of doing what he told them. In 6 weeks, their reduction in waste was equivalent to 1/3 of their annual profit in 6 weeks. So it's there if you know where to go get it. So let's go back to our example. So we're taking margin up by 1%, which we've said in a $50 million business is worth $500,000. So if you were earning $2.5 million, 5% margin, and you went to $3 million in sales, which is what this $500,000 gets you, that is a 20% increase in profit. So you improve margin by 1%, you improve profit by 20%.